So for the time being, it seems like this whole Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren debacle is over, because on MLK Day, Elizabeth Warren finally decided to shake Bernie Sanders' hand, and they were seen marching side by side, being incredibly friendly towards one another. They're seen here laughing. Tulsi Gabbard is with them. So it seems as if, Bernie Sanders is an incredibly forgiving person, and whatever differences that they both had, he has chosen to put that aside. Now, look, admittedly, I'm still salty, but I acknowledge that it's important that we move on, and that was basically my sentiment in my video that I put out on Friday. Although the media, since they were thirsty for more of this story, they desperately tried to find ways to extend the life of this story. And probably the most embarrassing example that we got came from MSNBC, specifically Joy Reid, who decided to bring on a body language expert to prove that Bernie Sanders was indeed lying. Now, the only other news network irresponsible enough to platform this grifter was, of course, Fox News, Lou Dobbs specifically. So, that tells you everything that you need to know about MSNBC. But I don't even really have to try that hard to go out of my way to prove to you that this person is a loon, because I think that she does that all by herself in this clip. And I'm not even that mad. This is just, it's so bad that it's funny. Take a look.
Scandals hurt you more when they seem plausible, right? Bernie Sanders does have a sort of physicality, when he talks, that is a shaking your finger at Hillary Clinton, shaking your finger, shovey, weirdy. His physicality makes me think, he could have said, listen, I think in this environment a woman can't win. That doesn't seem like a crazy
Well, first of
thing
all, I think Bernie's lying. We see him, he slouches forward anyway, Joy, but here he turtles. If you look at his eye level where he normally answers questions, when he makes the denial, his whole shoulders come up like a little kid getting caught. His eye level is below his shoulders. This is trying to hide in plain sight. And many of us, we don't know what to look for. So if you look for this right out of the gate, and the strongest denial is simply saying no. And I think women in particular, we want to believe human beings. So we're like, I would say that. He literally said, well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it. That's 9 words. Unnecessary. No. Did you vote for Donald Trump in the last election?
Absolutely no.
Right? So no. Did you dress up as an Easter bunny on Easter?
Absolutely no.
Right? So it's no. We say no. Absolutely is actually not the strongest denial. You're playing with me here in the game, but at least you're getting the no in here. We're not hearing the no with Bernie. Also with Bernie, he has numerous hotspots. He says, well. Liars like to start with, well. He looks away. He laughs. I think he might have been coached to laugh in this moment. A lot of politicians are coached to laugh in the difficult times. So we're focused on the laughter, and it's supposed to send a message that this isn't serious. It is serious. If he said it, which I believe that he did, he would have been better to just own it. Barack Obama wrote a book years ago, and he said what in the book? He tried cocaine and marijuana, and he never touched the stuff again. We never talked about it when he was president after that. If Bernie just owned it, this would disappear. We wouldn't be talking about it 6 days later.
But Bernie, he did the opposite.
Again, that was on MSNBC, a supposedly credible news network, doing pseudoscience to smear Bernie Sanders. Now, this body language expert claims that she believes Bernie Sanders is lying because he was turtling and he was like a little kid getting caught. And she says his eye level is below his shoulders. Now, as many people pointed out, and I can't believe that Joy Reid didn't say this or call her out on this, but she was basically describing a Jewish caricature, like an anti-Semitic trope of a Jewish person in talking about Bernie Sanders and how his eye level was below his shoulders. So for Joy Reid being one of the wokest people on television, how did she let that pass? Did she miss it? Did she not know? Did this supposed body language expert know what she was doing? Because Joy Reid will call any and everything sexist, but to not call out brazen anti-Semitism, even if it was unintentional, seems like they're willing to allow Bernie Sanders to be the subject of bigotry, and that's fine. But anyone else, they're going to call it out. So, that was embarrassing. But my favorite part was when this pseudoscientist's entire grift kind of fell apart because she claimed that the strongest denial is to just simply say no. But because Bernie Sanders used 9 words to deny that he said that, well, that makes his claim that he was telling the truth that much more implausible. So then she tested out that theory on Joy Reid, and Joy Reid inadvertently disproved what she was saying because she asked Joy Reid, look, Did you vote for Donald Trump? Did you dress up as the Easter Bunny on Easter? And Joy Reid said, absolutely no, twice. So maybe you're wrong, because Joy Reid didn't just say no. She said absolutely no. And then she had to point out, absolutely isn't the strongest denial, actually. But I mean, Joy Reid obviously was telling the truth. We know that Joy Reid didn't dress up as the Easter Bunny. We know that she didn't vote for Donald Trump. So maybe absolutely is a stronger denial. And in fact, like, if somebody is brazenly lying about me, then I think I would say more words because of how outraged I am that they're just lying about what I said. So this body language expert, so-called body language expert, doesn't take into account the fact that we all have unique personalities, and how to read body language is not universally applicable. There's no specific science to it. We all have subjective ways of interpreting one's body language, so it's just embarrassing. And on top of that, she claims that Bernie Sanders was coached to laugh to distract us from the fact that he was lying. Yes, the least coached politician ever was apparently laughing specifically to distract us from the lie. Absolutely absurd. And maybe Joy Reid should have brought on this body language expert to coach her when she got busted posting old homophobic blog posts, and she decided to lie about it, alleging that maybe her blog was hacked. Now, look, that's a different story for a different day. We talked about this on the show before, but I think that the consensus on the left was, we don't care that you made those homophobic blog posts. If you own up to it and you just say, look, yeah, I made those posts, but I no longer agree with it, I mean, that's fine. Everybody would have just moved on. But because you chose to lie about it and claim that you were hacked, it made the situation that much worse for you. So maybe, rather than bringing on body language experts to prove that Bernie Sanders lied, prove that he lied, maybe you should have brought on that individual to help coach you to lie better, Joy, because you are a liar and people see right through you. Now, look, I'm not worried about this segment because I think that in and of itself, it's self-defeating. Like, it's just embarrassing and nobody's going to believe this. But let's have some fun, because Twitter did what Twitter usually does, and they dug up old tweets from this supposed body language expert and found what you would expect from any crank. Of course, she is an anti-vaxxer posting anti-vaccine propaganda on Twitter. She shared an article which claimed Obama ordered the CIA to train ISIS. Very, very interesting from a credible source. On top of that, she is just personally incredibly biased because she's a friend of Joe Biden. She had dinner at his house. So, I mean, it doesn't get more biased than that. And to show you just how deep her analyses usually go, this is one of the videos that she is proud of because she pinned this video to her Twitter page. So apparently there's a lot of information that we can ascertain about someone just based off of the color of the clothing that they wear. Take a look.
Orange, listen, it's tricky because it's connected with activity and caution, which sometimes gives people this energy boost, right, when we drink it, but other times it holds people back and says proceed with caution. I want you to think about it. You're driving down the highway, no, I said that's so funny, the highway, and you see these orange cones. It says slow down. But yet we also have the color orange with speeding up with what? Gatorade. You see sports people have orange. You see a lot of uniforms with athletes in orange. That orange color is tricky. That's probably why we don't see it a lot in the red carpet. Are you wearing orange? I gotta tell you, I had an orange wall, an accent wall in my TV room up until 5 days ago when I realized my 3 sons are orange kids. I said, I have orange running around my house all over Kingdom Come. I don't need an orange wall. I have orange kids. Orange can be a little too much. So slow your roll on the orange, especially if it's a top-bottom matching orange. You might just be sending the message, caution, I could be dangerous.
Okay.
Next on MSNBC, Joy Reid brings on a psychic who knows a ghost who was in the room at the time when Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren had this conversation, and you're not going to be surprised to find out that that ghost says Bernie Sanders is definitely lying. I mean, that's the point that we're getting to. It's not that much more ridiculous than what we saw here. Body language expertise is not a real science. It's not a real expertise. This is a grift This is pseudoscience, and there are certainly useful things at an individual level that we can ascertain about body language. For example, it seems to me that Bernie Sanders was telling Tom Steyer to fuck off in this video here, but I mean, of course, that's subjective. That's because I don't like Tom Steyer and want him to tell Tom Steyer to fuck off, but in reality, that's just speculation. Again, body language is something that, it's important when we're communicating. There are social cues that we can take from someone's body language to tell that they're uncomfortable and whatnot. But I mean, there's a line to be drawn, and this body language expert crossed that line. Of course, you can't tell definitively that Bernie Sanders was lying because he said 9 words to deny that he said that instead of just saying no. I mean, Joy Reid proved you wrong because she said absolutely no. She used more than 1 word. So, I mean, it's just a joke, and it goes to show you that the mainstream media is so desperate to extend the life of this story and paint Bernie Sanders in a negative light that they are willing to bring on loons to prove that Bernie Sanders is a bad person. But guess what? It's not going to work. And if anything, I think that this is going to help Bernie Sanders because it just shows how desperate you all are to paint him negatively. Shameful, but I mean, Joy Reid has proven that she has no shame, so I look forward to the segment where she literally brings on a psychic to talk about ghosts who have some dirt on Bernie Sanders. Like, this is literally coming at the rate that we're going.